We're Founder Catalyst, an online platform for companies in England and Wales to create all the legal paperwork required to undertake a funding round. Share your files, such as pitch decks and financial forecasts, manage engagement with your potential investors, as well as collect all required digital signatures and issue share certificates at the end of the round. Also assisting you with getting your SEIS, EIS advance assurance, and issuing investor updates post-funding round. We also help you to get your EMI option schemes in place to incentivize your employees. Let's start by signing up to Founder Catalyst. To create your new user account, visit www.foundercatalyst.com and click the button in the right that says Sign Up for Free. This takes you to a simple form where we ask for your name, email address, and a password. You can also set up a passkey for quicker and more secure access. We ask for your full name, including any middle names, because we're going to be generating legal documents, so need to use your full name. After clicking the sign up button, you'll see a message thanking you for signing up, and you'll shortly receive an email with a link to confirm your account. When you click the confirmation link, it asks you to log in again, type your email address and the same password, then click the login button. Once you've signed in for the first time, you'll need to set up your account fully. The first step is to enter your name and email address. Then, if you want to sign up to our newsletter, and selecting your notification preferences. Then enter your phone number and national insurance number. Then entering your address. For example, this is used for the generated founder service agreement, which is like an employment contract. After that, you'll need to either sign directly on the platform or you can generate a signature online. This is applied to documents when you digitally sign them. Now your onboarding has been completed and you can add your company to the platform. This is as easy as entering the company number and clicking Search and Add Company. After a few moments, you'll see a green confirmation message confirming that details of your company have successfully been imported from Companies House. You're now ready to drag and drop your company logo. This will be used to brand the documents we produce. We will automatically pull your registered address from Companies House. Ideally, you should just be able to click the Confirm Address is Correct button. But if you can't because it's changed or is incorrect, then you can make changes here and click Save Address. Just remember to update Companies House with the change too. We won't report it back to them. Your registered address may be that of an accountant or a virtual registered address service. So if there's a different address you'd prefer to receive correspondence, you can choose to enter it on the next page, or just click to use the same address as your registered one. We also need an email address that is considered for the company, rather than any specific founder or employee. Then you can save this form. Next, creating your company itself is to configure some options on how your company operates, such as when your holiday year begins and ends. There are some sensible defaults filled in for you, so if you don't know the answers, they're likely to be reasonable values to use. The only parts you'll definitely need to complete are your company bank details for receiving the funds from your investors and your nominal share value. If this doesn't match up with Companies House, the system will send you a notification email. Unless you are an advisor to a founder rather than a founder yourself, you shouldn't change your role. The final stage of creating your company itself is to edit your share classes to your needs. For example, voting rights, diluting, etc., and then selecting your document style. After completing this form by clicking on the Save Options button, it's time to define your founders. We've automatically grabbed the details of registered directors from Companies House. All you need to do is click This is me for your own name, click Invite for any other founders listed, and add any missing under the Add Another Founder button. Anyone you add or invite will be emailed a link to join Founder Catalyst and be added to your company. When you're finished, click Finished Adding Founders. You now need to enter the details of the cap table, as it will be just prior to investment. In short, you need to add details of each shareholder in your company and how many shares they own. You should also enter details of any option pool or other type of investment instruments, such as convertible loan notes, safes, or warrants. Once the cap table on the platform is correct, click the Allocate All Pending Shares button. We will automatically invite each of your shareholders to the platform. At this point, they'll be required to sign a shareholder resolution and your new shareholders agreement when you close your funding round. Finally, we need to enter details on each founder, so navigate back to People under Organisation, then under the founder, click Edit Contract Details. In turn, this will include each founder's job title, salary, and notice period. The details you enter on this screen are used to create your founder service agreement and intellectual property assignment letter. When you've confirmed details for all founders, you'll be ready to create your funding round. If you need to correct any items you've entered already, then you can do so now by selecting the relevant item in the menu. Once everything is correct, click on the Start a Funding Round button. You can create the funding round, define all of the details, download the term sheet, and even invite investors before needing to pay us for your round. If you're not sure about using Founder Catalyst, there's nothing to lose by giving it a go for free. To see how our platform works, the funding round process is broken down into 4 main steps: defining the round, inviting your potential investors, completing the round, and then receiving the investment. Step 1 is all about defining the round. As with other parts of the platform, we offer sensible default values and a description of what each input means. For some of the more complex items, we also offer a link to a more detailed article. Also, you can see what our customers usually pick if you need help. There are a couple of sections that you can't complete at this stage, such as selecting a board observer or investor director. You would also create disclosures just before closing your funding round to avoid them going stale between starting and closing the round. Once you've been through all the sections of defining a round, you can look at the documentation we've produced and ensure you are comfortable with it. Grab a strong coffee, we've just produced 100 pages of legal documentation. If you decide to use the Boost feature to support your funding round, then now will be a great time to set this up. See our further video for guidance on how to do this. To see the documentation we've produced, head to the Intelligent Data room. It is also possible to upload your pitch deck, forecast, advance assurance, or other documents that your investors may want to see, as follows in folders 1 or 4. You can head back to your company under Organisation to change your document style before signing. Once you are happy with the documentation, it's time to invite your investors, which occurs in Step 2. Here, we enter details of any potential investors to this funding round. We need to specify a name and email address for each potential investor, as we will invite them to the platform for you. We also need to enter their intended investment amount or number of shares, the type of shares they will receive, and whether they are investing under the SEIS or EIS schemes. When adding potential investors, you can choose either an existing shareholder who wishes to invest in the company, or a new individual or corporate investor. Once you've entered details, you can then click the button that says Send Invitation Emails below that section to send all of your investors a welcome email with the link to sign up to Founder Catalyst and join your round. Once we've invited some potential investors, we get access to Step 3. Don't worry if you need to go back and change any of the settings in Step 1, or you need to add new potential investors or remove some that have dropped out in Step 2. You can continue doing this until you lock the funding round for signing. Step 3 tracks progress of your invited investors. You can see who has signed up and where they are in the process. On this page, you can also lock the funding round for signing, which means you are completing the round, but you can only do so once all invited investors have accepted their invitation and onboarded onto the platform. Before locking the round, we'll skip back and add an example disclosure in defining the round. It's worth reiterating that you can amend any of the settings on the platform up until the point that you lock the round for signing. It's not unusual for your invited investors to negotiate with you at this point, usually around valuation, but sometimes they may insist on having stronger consents or information rights or similar. You can amend these settings in defining the round and will automatically update the relevant documents. If you're raising both SEIS and EIS during this funding round, which is known as a dual round, then you need to be very careful not to receive SEIS and EIS funds on the same day. Contact the Founder Catalyst team for specific guidance on this point. Once you've locked the documents for signing and all founders, existing shareholders, and investors have signed all documents, you'll be taken to step 4, or the Receiving Funds page. This allows you to mark investments as received. Once you've confirmed you've received the funds, marking an investment as received triggers the platform to issue that investor with a share certificate for their investment. After all investors have been marked as paid, the round is closed. You can download a zip file containing all signed documentation at this point. Great, we finished your first round and it's just taken 10 minutes. In reality, your funding round will involve herding cats or investors. In this case, the process of closing a funding round can take days or weeks. You can be sure that Founder Catalyst isn't going to add any latency into that process. You can now download your completion Bible for the transaction. This is a copy of every document in the intelligent data room at the time of closing. Not to worry if you lose it within downloads, you can come back to download at any time. Now we've closed a round, we can create a further funding round or set up our heartbeat for updating our investors.